One of the main expressions of the carnivalesque principle is through the iconography of grotesque realism. Grotesque realism is a carnivalesque principle derived from the folk and from folk carnivals. A main principle of grotesque realism is degradation. Degradation means to lower down, to move from high to low. Bakhtin says the essential principle of grotesque realism is degradation.
That is, the lowering of all that is high, spiritual, ideal, abstract. It is a transfer to the material level, to the sphere of earth and the body in their indissoluble unity. So degradation literally means to lower down, to move from high to low.
And in terms of body,
this means that grotesque imagery focuses on the lower half of the body, the part that contains the genitals, the reproductive organs, the bowels, the bladder, the belly, all the parts of the body that normative culture likes to hide or disguise.
He continues, degradation digs a bodily grave for new birth.
It has not only a destructive or negative aspect, but also a regenerating one.
Grotesque realism knows no other level. It is the fruitful earth and the womb. It is always conceiving.
So one of the ideas behind grotesque realism and carnivalesque is that through those things, through the degradation, there's a rebirth.
Here's a picture that shows degradation like Bakhtin discusses on page 21, with downward being earth and upward being heaven. The fallen angels are degraded or brought down to earth from heaven. Because the name of this piece is The Fall of the Rebel Angels. So the rebel angels are the ones who are being degraded or brought down.
Oh, those little demons are so cute. And that adorable fish cut open. Oh, what a lovely picture this is. Can we get a closer look?
Cute, huh? Yeah, let's take a closer look at some of these images in conjunction with what Bakhtin says about the grotesque body.
Oh, now I can see them.
They don't look so grotesque to me. They look kind of wow.
Well, Bakhtin does say that in grotesque realism, quote, the stress is laid on those parts of the body that are open to the outside world, that is, the parts through which the world enters the body or emerges from it, or through which the body itself goes out to meet the world. This means the emphasis is on the apertures or the convexities, or on various ramifications and offshoots. The open mouth, the genital organs, the breast, the phallus, the potbelly, the nose. This is on page 26.
Oh, that's why they've got such big mouths, and why we see their nasty little behinds. Oh.
Exactly.
Bakhtin goes on to say, grotesque images, quote, remain ambivalent and contradictory. They are ugly,
monstrous, hideous from the point of view of classic aesthetics, that is, the aesthetics of the ready-made and the completed.
The new historic sense that penetrates them gives these images a new meaning, but keeps intact their traditional contents.
Copulation, pregnancy, birth, growth, old age, disintegration, dismemberment.
What a treat! I see dismemberment everywhere. Oh, big mouths, big faces, everything's beautifully exaggerated.
Yeah, exactly. And let's look at this next close-up.
We can see how the good angel from heaven contrasts with the grotesque images and monstrous creatures surrounding it.
Bakhtin says that the grotesque images and themes like copulation, dismemberment, and old age are, quote, the main element in a system of grotesque images. They are contrary to the classic images of the finished, completed man, cleansed, as it were, of all the scoriae of birth and development.
That's on page 25. So that's what this angel looks like, cleansed and complete and perfect, the opposite of the grotesque images. This is the classical representation of the human body as closed rather than open, as somehow sealed or protected from the world outside.
So through this degradation and emphasis on the lower half of the body and the parts of life that we like to disguise or hide away, like birth or death or old age or copulation or defecation, dismemberment, disintegration. So through this is how grotesque realism helps carnival become a rejuvenative space. Fundamentally, carnival is a regenerative space, one that breaks down to build up stronger.
Oh, like when I sacrifice a young child so I can be young again. Is that what you mean?
No, that's a hard no. No, I'm talking about a symbolic sacrifice.
Carnival is like a safety valve for the underbelly or subculture or oppressed of society.
Some theorists have argued that society needs these types of counterculture or subculture spaces to allow those things to be expressed so that they don't then actually challenge the power structure.
If you have an official feast where people can let loose, then maybe they won't come after you and behead you.
Oh, come on, I love a good beheading, as long as it's not mine.
Oh boy. On this slide, you can see the carnival costume embodying another element of grotesque realism that Bakhtin points to in this excerpt.
On page 26.
One of the fundamental tendencies of the grotesque image of the body is to show two bodies in one, the one giving birth and dying, the other conceived, generated, born.
And if you take a look at the picture on the left in particular, you can see a hybrid of a number of different bodies. You have a pig's head, a furry bear-looking coat, and human legs sticking out from underneath the costume. So this is an example then of multiple bodies in one body, at least represented in the costume. One way of thinking about grotesque realism is as a response to the mind-body dualism set up by early thinkers in the medieval Christian church, where the body is usually represented as tainted, as marked by original sin, but the mind is pure and can maintain control over the willful, sinful body. This is what motivated things like fasting, right? This is your mind controlling the body, according to Christian theology. Grotesque realism inverts that hierarchy and brings the body back to the top by suggesting that the body is important and bringing the body back to prominence.
So this is the other artist Bakhtin mentioned, Hieronymus Bosch, who produced grotesque imagery in lots of his paintings and art.
How am I supposed to see anything in there? It's too much.
Okay, let's take a closer look.
Oh, the devil take you. Those aren't ears at all, are they?
They're very phallic indeed.
Oh, and a dismembered body with little people inside of it.
Wait till you see the next close-up.
This Bosch, he had a wild mind, didn't he? I wish I'd been alive then. We could have dated. He could slide into my DMs anytime.
Actually, I can totally see that.
They do make that grotesque body look delicious, don't they?
Yeah, I don't know about that. But you're right that they're all grotesque images. The eating of the body, the exaggerated mouth, the bird consuming the human, that flips something, right? Usually it's a human consuming a bird. The birds coming out of the buttocks. These are all grotesque images. On the bottom left, you can see a dismembered foot. You can see a pig dressed as a nun, which inverts a church hierarchy. You can see dogs devouring a human. You can see a buttocks with arrow coming out of it, a naked person, etc., etc., etc.
I think the grotesque is right up my alley. I finally feel, oh, what did Dorothy say? Like I'm at home.
I bet you do. Well, I think there's a reason that you feel like you fit in there. That's actually one of the things I'm going to ask my students in a minute, why you do or don't fit into this characterization.
Don't you dare talk about me like I'm not right here. Don't think I'm going to wait around so you and your students can talk about me and judge me. Fly!
What? No. Bye. This final slide is an example of the type of sculpture that Bakhtin references when he talks about the laughing hag, who is both old and pregnant at the same time. So now you know some things about grotesque imagery and the practice of carnival in medieval and early modern Europe.
Now it's going to be your chance to apply some of that to the text that we've read so far.
See you in class.